I always knew my life would go downhill eventually. I just didn't expect it to take the express elevator straight to hell, with my ex-wife pressing every floor on the way down so I'd suffer slowly. Before I tell you the full story of the worst day of my life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like our video. Help us reach as many people as possible. Thank you. Let me paint the picture. I was the guy people described as solid, not in a sexy, mysterious way. More like he's dependable, like an old Honda Civic. I worked a 9-to-5 at a logistics company, paid my taxes early, and never forgot to take out the trash. Hell, I even learned how to make sourdough bread during the pandemic because it would be a fun couples project. Yeah, I was that guy. And then there was Rachel. Rachel, my wife of 10 years. Blonde, yoga-toned, and with a laugh that used to make me feel like I actually mattered. She worked in PR because of course she did. She could talk a priest into buying sin. People loved her. I loved her. I even forgave her obsession with celery juice and spiritual retreats in Sedona. We had a house in the suburbs, a dog named Max, 2 cars, a his and hers Keurig setup, and matching Patagonia vests for hiking we never actually did. We looked like a brochure for middle-class stability, but apparently Rachel had higher aspirations. It started with little things. She stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings. Max, the dog, started sleeping in our bed more than I did. And Rachel started getting texts at 11 p.m. from someone saved as boss man. I confronted her once, just asked casually if her boss texted everyone at night or if she was the lucky winner of his insomnia. She laughed and said I was being insecure, that I shouldn't police her career, that not everything's about me. Right. Silly me. Thinking maybe a husband gets to ask why his wife's phone lights up at midnight like a Christmas tree. I should have seen it coming. All the signs were there. The new underwear she claimed she bought for herself. The sudden interest in CrossFit when she hadn't lifted more than a wine glass in years. And don't even get me started on the girls' weekend in Aspen that somehow didn't include a single girl I recognized. But I ignored it. Because that's what I do. I'm the Honda Civic. I keep driving until I crashed. It was a Thursday, because pain never waits for the weekend. When I came home early from work, I had a migraine and a fantasy of collapsing on the couch with a beer and some garbage TV. I walked into our living room and there they were. Rachel and her boss, naked, on my couch. Not the bedroom, mind you, not some sleazy motel. No. My couch. The one I paid for, the one with my ass groove, she screamed. He ran into the kitchen and grabbed my coffee mug like it was a weapon. I just stood there holding a 6-pack of IPAs, wishing one of them would explode and put me out of my misery. I can explain, Rachel said, clutching a throw pillow like her dignity depended on it. Please don't, I replied. I've already seen the trailer. No need for the full movie. Her boss, I think his name was Brent or Chad or some other douchebag moniker, tried to introduce himself. Hi, I'm Trevor. Shut up, Trevor, I said. You're literally still inside my wife. He zipped up, grabbed his jacket, and bolted, leaving behind his dignity and one of his socks, which Max promptly peed on. Good boy. That night, Rachel cried. Not because she was sorry. Oh no. She cried because I wasn't supportive enough and never truly saw her. Apparently, Trevor did. Trevor with his veneers and LinkedIn buzzwords. She told me it was inevitable, that our relationship had been drifting for years, that we grew apart. Bullshit. I didn't grow anywhere. I was right here, paying bills, planning date nights, pretending to enjoy quinoa. She didn't grow. She just upgraded to a man with a 6-figure salary and an imported espresso machine. 3 weeks later, I was served divorce papers. Ironic, considering I used to joke that I was the one who always made the coffee. Now she wanted to take everything, including the damn coffee table. I thought divorce would be clinical. Lawyers, signatures, maybe a few tears. What I didn't expect was the complete dismantling of my entire existence in glorious 4K. She got the house. She got the dog. She got half, my 401k, even though she never contributed a dime to it, and the car, the one in her name, She forgot to make the payments and it got repossessed. Guess whose credit tanked? This was my life now. I went from making grilled salmon with her on Sunday nights to eating cold cereal in a rented studio apartment above a nail salon. My neighbors scream in Spanish at 3 a.m., and the Wi-Fi works only if I sit on the toilet. Every morning, I'd wake up, stare at the peeling ceiling, and think, wow, marriage really is forever. The trauma part, anyway. People say divorce is a fresh start, a clean slate. Those people are either liars or rich. You know what a fresh start feels like? Like waking up in the middle of a hurricane with no pants on and someone telling you to smile more. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was numb. Hollowed out. Like a jack-o'-lantern after Halloween. Everyone had taken what they wanted and left me grinning in the dark. Still, I went to therapy, because apparently, that's what broken men do now. My therapist Sharon nodded a lot and used phrases like emotional bandwidth and inner child. I wanted to ask if she'd ever walked in on her wife screwing a corporate Ken doll while your dog judged you from the rug. But I didn't. Instead, I told her, I feel like a backup plan that got demoted to trash. She said that was a powerful metaphor. No, Sharon, it's my life. I tried dating again, got on the apps, matched with a woman who described herself as part witch, part empath, full-time chaos. She ghosted me after 2 dates because I didn't align with her crystals. I went to a bar once, got hit on by a woman who asked if I was emotionally available. I said, I'm emotionally damaged, does that count? She left. So here I am, 39, divorced, living above a nail salon, my dog's with my ex. My couch has probably been sanitized for future boss sex, and my therapist thinks I need to reframe the narrative. Reframe this, Sharon. Still, part of me wonders if there's more. If all this misery is the ugly cocoon before the beautiful butterfly, or maybe it's just a turd with wings. Hard to tell from here. You ever try to put your life back together with IKEA instructions written in Latin and missing half the screws? That was me post-divorce, except instead of furniture, it was my soul I was trying to reassemble, and someone had set fire to the manual. I wish I could say I found clarity. That I had an eat, pray, love moment, except with less yoga and more bourbon. But no. What I found was that the more I tried to move on, the more I realized just how thoroughly I'd been gutted, not just financially, but existentially. The first thing I had to learn was how to cook for one. Not cook well. Just cook. I burned spaghetti the first week. Burned it. That takes effort. I was used to Rachel doing all the nutritional planning. Translation: she cooked while I did dishes and told her how amazing quinoa still tastes like birdseed. Now I lived off instant noodles and passive rage. The second thing I had to learn was how to sleep alone. And I don't mean alone in a poetic, moody man kind of way. I mean actually physically alone without Max curled up by my feet or Rachel elbowing me at 2 a.m. because I breathed too loud. I used to fantasize about a silent bedroom. Turns out, silence is a lot louder when it's filled with memories. I kept the blinds closed for weeks. Like sunlight was a personal insult. I went to work, came home, microwaved sadness, scrolled dating apps full of filtered desperation, and then cried during reruns of The Office. It wasn't a life. It was a punishment. But then came the invitation. It showed up in my inbox like a slap wrapped in HTML. You're invited, Rachel and Trevor's engagement party. Oh yeah, they were engaged now. Because of course they were. Nothing screams true love like screwing your subordinate's couch husband and then buying a diamond to seal the deal. The invite had one of those nauseating couple photos. Her in white, him in beige linen, both barefoot on a beach like a shampoo. Commercial. The subject line read, "Let's celebrate love." I hit delete. Then I hit the whiskey. Who sends their ex-husband an invite to their wedding party? Who wants the guy you emotionally napalm to show up and clap politely while you tongue-kiss your promotion in public? Rachel, that's who. But something shifted in me after that. Not a healing shift. more like a petty, vengeful awakening. I stopped going to therapy. Sharon didn't deserve the emotional shrapnel anymore. I started running. Not for health, God no. Just to feel like I was outrunning the ghost of my former life. I lost weight, gained spite, and downloaded LinkedIn again, because even broken men need to look successful online. I also started stalking Trevor. Digitally, obviously. I wasn't about to get arrested wearing pajama pants and emotional instability. His online life was sickening. Inspirational posts, pictures of him doing yoga with Rachel, hashtags like Tarn Hustle Hard and Tarn Grateful Heart. He was the kind of guy who ended emails with warmly. He also published articles about ethical leadership. Yeah, the guy who raw-dogged someone else's wife on their couch was now lecturing the world on ethics. That's when I found his company's internal portal. Someone had uploaded a video of his keynote speech from last quarter. I watched it, out of boredom and self-harm, and somewhere around minute 12, I had an idea. A terrible, beautiful idea. See, Trevor had a dirty little secret I noticed during the video, a nervous tic. When he lied, he rubbed his chin. Repeatedly. Like he was trying to wipe off the bullshit. He did it 3 times during the speech. Once while describing his humble beginnings. Once while saying he valued transparency. And once while thanking his incredible fiancée Rachel. Bingo. I don't know what got into me. Maybe it was the months of humiliation. Or the fact that I found an old photo of Max in my sock drawer and cried for 20 minutes. Or maybe I just needed a win, even a petty one. So I created a fake persona, Doug, a marketing manager from Denver looking to hire Trevor's company for a campaign. I used a burner email, a stock photo for my profile, and just enough corporate lingo to sound legit. Doug reached out. Doug got a meeting. Trevor took the bait. The Zoom call was delightful. I wore a bathrobe off camera and pretended to take notes. He pitched me his vision, talked about disruption, and yes, he rubbed his chin like a cat in heat. I told him I'd be flying to LA for a potential in-person pitch meeting next month. He was thrilled. Said he couldn't wait. To meet Doug, I smiled and said, "Likewise, buddy." Was it immature? Yes. Did I feel better? Also yes. But something else happened too. Something I didn't expect. I started laughing again. Not forced, not bitter. Real laughter. Dark, inappropriate, and beautiful. Because for the first time in a year, I wasn't just reacting to pain. I was doing something about it, even if it was absurd. I got off the Zoom call and looked in the mirror. Still the same face. Same sad eyes. But something was different. I didn't look defeated anymore. I looked dangerous. And honestly, it suited me. The morning I decided to fly to Los Angeles and crash their engagement party, I put on my nicest shirt, the one Rachel once said made me look like I cared, and packed exactly 2 things, a fake identity and an empty heart. Doug was back. I wasn't invited, of course. The last interaction I had with Rachel was her asking if I still had her Instant Pot. I didn't. I sold it on Craigslist for whiskey money. But I knew the venue. Thanks to social media, I had the full schedule, guest list, and catering menu. Quinoa. Obviously, they rented out some rooftop monstrosity in downtown LA. All concrete, fairy lights, and people who say vibes, unironically. It was the kind of place that served water in recycled gin bottles and had a DJ named Ether. I slipped in by blending into a herd of guests arriving late. Apparently, no one questions a guy in sunglasses carrying a clipboard and looking annoyed. Doug had a mission. Inside, everything was Instagram filter perfect. White roses, vegan hors d'oeuvres, a signature drink named the Rachel Teeny. Gag me with a biodegradable straw, and there they were. At the center of it all, Rachel, in a white jumpsuit like she was auditioning for a reboot of Charlie's Angels. And Trevor, smug as ever, wearing a linen suit and the face of a man who thinks therapy is just journaling with a better font. They were glowing. Not with love. No. with self-congratulation. I hovered near the bar, blending in like a ghost, with good posture, and waited for my moment. Now remember, this wasn't just about revenge. Not really. This was about liberation, about dragging myself out of the emotional trench she left me in and showing her that the man she tried to bury had claws. Trevor was about to give a speech. I could tell because a waiter handed him a mic and he did that chin rub again, like a nervous schoolboy about to lie his way through a book report. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, voice buttery, "tonight is about love, about finding your person even when life throws you curveballs. Curveballs, like your boss nailing your wife in the bathroom of a corporate retreat." I took a deep breath. This was it. I pulled out my phone, connected it to the Bluetooth speaker with a little tech trick I'd picked up during my soul-crushing IT job, and hit play. Audio started booming. Rachel, moaning, Trevor, saying her name. It was from an old voicemail I had accidentally received during the height of their affair. She must have sat on her phone mid-coitus and pocket-dialed me from a hotel room. I never deleted it. I guess I always knew it would come in handy. The room froze. Rachel's face went white. Trevor's eyes bulged like someone had kicked him in his ethical leadership. The audio played for exactly 17 seconds before someone ripped the speaker out of the wall. 17 seconds was more than enough. Silence, then murmurs, then someone laughed. God bless them. I walked forward slowly, clapping. Slow, theatrical claps, like I was rating a high school play with bad lighting. "Touching speech, Trevor," I said. "But I think we've all heard enough touching for one evening." People turned. Cameras were out. Rachel looked like she might vomit a Rachel teeny. "Oh, and congratulations," I added, raising my glass. "May your marriage last slightly longer than my therapy bills." Security started moving toward me, but not fast enough. I tossed the mic on the table, gave Rachel a polite bow, and walked out with the calm of a man who had just set fire to his past and didn't even flinch. Outside, it was raining. Of course it was. Los Angeles crying for me or laughing at me, I couldn't tell. I didn't care. That was the moment right there. Not in the sabotage, not in the chaos, but in the not caring. The funeral of my last fuck to give. I walked back, to my motel room soaked but grinning, not manic, not bitter, just free. I expected fallout, and I got it. Rachel called. I didn't answer. Trevor emailed, said I needed professional help. I replied with a gif of a dumpster fire. Their engagement didn't survive the scandal. I heard through the grapevine that his company asked him to step down to focus on personal growth. Rachel moved back to her parents' place for a while and deleted most of her online presence. Me. I moved out of that depressing little apartment, got a dog from a shelter, named him Karma, and started writing a blog about emotional warfare and the art of not snapping during brunch. Turns out, there's a whole audience for this kind of story. Divorced men, burned women, people who've had their hearts curb-stomped and still manage to laugh through the blood. They say revenge doesn't heal. Maybe. But I can tell you this much. It can cauterize the wound. I didn't get the house, or the dog, or the Instant Pot. But I got my dignity back. Piece by piece. One sarcastic blog post, one angry run, one awkward first date at a time. I learned that rock bottom isn't a place. It's a trampoline. A rough, ugly, loud trampoline, covered in shame and regret, but it bounces you somewhere new if you're willing to get up. Rachel was a chapter, not the book. And Trevor, he's a footnote, a cautionary tale. I'm not happy yet, but I'm free. And sometimes that's better. Next time someone breaks me, I'll be ready, stronger, smarter, and this time the couch is mine.